Hey everyone, welcome to episode 106 of Formidable Opponents, a show that picks three people who have known each other virtually their entire lives in a series of conversations as we argue what is best in a variety of fun, engaging, and critical pop culture topics we all debate about. I'm Randall, and with me as always, Bob and Joseph. And this week's topic is Best TV Series Finale. TV series can be quite the roller coaster of emotions. It's like saying goodbye to an old friend. These are bittersweet moments as we see the characters we've grown to love move on with their lives, and we move on with ours. We find new groups of fictional people to follow, carrying those moments and the lessons that the former has taught us about so many things, including ourselves. These finales remind us of the power of family and friendship, the ups and downs of life, and the importance of cherishing the moments we have with our loved ones, because some of those best moments are shared collaboratively, being introduced and saying goodbye to the people we've discussed and grown to care about. A gripping finale can have you on the edge of your seat, tie up all the loose ends, deliver emotionally intense moments, and they leave us contemplating the consequences of our own decisions and actions. There is so much weight that is levied on a series finale. A bad one can cause an unfair yet irreparable damage to even the best of TV series. An incredible one can help to remind you and resurrect the fondness for a series that's run its course. They may live on in our memories and in memes, but we've exhausted the fresh storylines, clever dialogue, and the continuing effect they had on us. Good television bonds us. Great finales sustain the fact that everything in that bond was worth every moment. This week, Formidable Opponents debates and discusses Best TV Series Finale. With me, as always, are two guys who are still patiently waiting for the series finale of Grey's Anatomy now that they've actually gone gray. Bob and Joseph, how are you guys? We're back.
Not good.
Not too good. We're doing all right. My team got ousted from the playoffs yesterday, it was yesterday. Health has been kind of up and down. Yes. But other than that, great.
I had a horrible week, Sunday to Sunday.
Sunday to Sunday.
Sunday to Sunday has just been horrible.
Cowboys lost, got sick. Hey, you got time off from work, Joe, so you can't beat that.
That's all right. And it's cold. It's been cold.
It's cold. Yeah. And one day it's 20 degrees and the other day it's 75. So your body doesn't know what the hell
the fuck to do.
Yeah.
It was raining too. Yeah.
Do we wear flip-flops today or not? What the fuck?
I've been battling allergies. It sucks because the last episode of last year, I had a head cold. We're starting this year, and I have my tissues beside me. They're not happy tissues, but, they're sad tissues because I'm just battling these allergies. But it's good to see you both again, guys. This is the new year, of course, for our podcast. We probably should have started last week, but we're finally here. It's January. To me, the most overrated month of the year.
Hey, what the fuck is my birthday month, you jerk? It's a new year. It's the start of a new year. It's my birthday anniversary. January is a great month.
But I mean, we love to kick it off with such a great and interesting topic. So, guys, remember last year we talked about worst TV series finale. And let's talk about great TV series finales. So, Bob and Joseph, tell us the importance of a good TV series finale. Is the legacy of a show upheld by a good series finale?
I think it is and it isn't. But, I mean, if you have a terrible finale, I mean, it could cost the show, so to speak. I definitely think that you have to have at least a decent finale. It has to wrap things up. I mean, it has to end on a certain note, you know what I mean? But if it's a terrible finale, if it's awful, if it's, it could take the show down a peg or two when it comes to like all-time greats.
I'd like to say it depends on who you are, because
right.
I do know good shows that have had subpar finales. My selection for worst
Game of Thrones.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you right now. But my selection for worst series finale, Supernatural, a show that I really, really enjoyed, had a very subpar finale, and it just kind of sucks. Bob, I don't know if Randy, you were into Game of Thrones as much as
I do.
Bob was.
I was, yeah.
Okay, so you all love that show. Like, you all think it's like it was this great fucking show, but does that finale, as epic as I know a lot of people talk about this show,
right?
How did that finale affect the legacy of the show? Did it fucking ruin it for you?
I'm going to answer this first. When I think of Game of Thrones, I cannot rewatch that TV series. When I want to revisit Game of Thrones, I go to YouTube and I Google or I search for all the death scenes.
Yeah, so there's the Red Death, Red Wedding.
There's like 25 minutes of like straight death scenes. That's the only thing I try to revisit. Yeah, and sex scenes too. Well, that's incognito mode. We won't go into that. But I mean, Bob, it doesn't taint it for me. What about
it's
you?
A tube, but it's not you.
I don't think it, I mean, like for Game of Thrones, no, it didn't bother me too much. And then Supernatural, of course, it doesn't bother you because there was like 1 million episodes. By the way, did you hear they might bring it back, Joseph? They're talking to
No,
Gene.
I didn't.
Yeah, well, now see, Joseph smiled. He perked up.
They've been doing that Winchester show that I decided not to pay attention. That's takes place.
You're not missing much on it.
Yeah, I've heard it's not that great. So
let me ask, because here's another example. Bob, were you done with the Game of Thrones? Did you want to?
I'm done with Game of Thrones. The great thing about it though, they brought the House of the Dragon, so it's kind of continued. So we're all good. And everything.
Well, and just to kind of finish that off, I think it just depends on who you are, because my choice, it ruined the final season and it ruined the series finale for me, but I still enjoy the show and I'll watch the show over and over again. I just don't see the need to watch the series finale ever again.
That hole in the wall is never going away, Joseph.
Let me introduce 2 new examples to you guys, because I know Seinfeld is a good example. I think Friends is another good example. Both crawled to the finish line with some rough last seasons, but nobody has held that against them. But it takes time. It's sort of like a breakup, harsh finish to a relationship and to something meaningful. But as you move on into other meaningful relationships, you grow to appreciate what you learned about relationships, about your past, about yourself through prior relationships, and you don't dislike the relationship occurred.
What the fuck are we talking about?
I'm going.
This is a reflection.
This is where the Italian comes in and shakes his head. Get to the fucking point.
My point is, you're appreciative. You're appreciative of. I thought I missed you guys. I don't. Okay, you're appreciative of the growth it's caused, and the memory improves with time. So a show is like a relationship. You're pissed off when it ends, but after a while, you're like, you know what? Good memories. So I don't think it necessarily. I'm going to edit all this out. Don't worry.
No, you better not. I was thinking of
to respond to that. I say, fuck that bitch.
Like I was thinking of Friends, and I think it did drag along. But I mean, when you're making 1 million an episode,
my answer,
yeah, just a bit. You're making it 1 million episode. Each actor, I don't think they wanted it to end. They're like, fuck it, I'll screw Joey this week. I don't care. Yeah, kind of like The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead, but then after so many seasons, you're like, okay, I get it. They're killing zombies.
They're
still
walking.
Yeah, they're still walking, bro. Just stop. Just take a seat. Chill out. That was a good joke, Joseph.
Next question, revisiting The Sopranos, because I saw they were on the top of many lists. We all do our research. We all look at, various lists. I think we all had issues with it, but looking back, can you embrace the ambiguity of the ending? Is it okay to let the audience draw their own conclusions, or do we have to have things laid out for us? So, Sopranos, guys, are we still okay with it being one of the worst TV series finale, or what are your thoughts? Because Joseph, you didn't watch. But
Joseph, did you watch The Sopranos?
No. But like I said, but surprisingly, I saw that last episode, and I didn't know what was going. I was as shocked as you all, just because I thought the power went out.
Yeah,
but Bob, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was hoping. No, I agree. Like if the screen went black and you maybe heard like a faint gunshot or something like that, I would have loved to leave that up for interpretation, but just going black like that, I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? If for a show with such action and such great dialogue and such great, like, intense scenes, you would think they would have ended up with something. Even if like I said, if the screen went black and there's just a faint gunshot in the background and they had left it like that, that would have been fucking epic, I think, personally. But just the screen going black, it kind of bothered me.
I think if I was as invested as you were in this show, it really would have pissed me off. Does that kind of, it just goes back to personal preference. Like, can you go back and rewatch that show? And Bob, to what you said, yeah, it's okay to leave some suspense or some question or for you to come up, for the viewer to come to their own conclusion. But it sure would fucking help if, like what Bob said, if the screen went black, you heard a gunshot, you heard 1 or 2 gunshots, you heard a gun shootout, if anything, and then it ended. like that would have helped you at least. You would have at least been there thinking like, well, fuck, it must have went down. He must have died, you know?
Must have been love.
The Sopranos 25 years later after its debut, many critics and audience members consider it the gold standard of that type of TV show. The kickoff to the modern, binge-worthy, dramatic, sink your teeth into a TV series, appointment television. I wasn't, and I'm still not a fan of the finale, but I don't hold it against the entire series. I thought it was a bold move, and maybe David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos, gave the audience way too much credit. Let them draw their own conclusions. No, our brains are on a completely different setting as we're watching your show. You tell us how it ends. We're not the genius creators you are. I think he gave the audience too much credit. I think the song was great. Ending with "Don't Stop Believing" was wonderful.
You used to think, yeah, but you think the opening song or the opening theme song is great too. So you already know.
But I guess we're still in agreement that TV series that finale could have been better. So, guys, to conclude our opening questions, were there any TV shows that you felt overstayed their welcome and took some of the enjoyment out of their season finale? Like you were once fully invested and you just forced yourself to hang around to see how it concluded.
I can say that about my selection. As much as I loved Supernatural, I think at some point it did, kind of wear out its welcome. And that's why you were kind of hoping that when it finally was the end, because even I was like, well, where the fuck did they go with this show? You had hoped for better. I think there's shows on the air that are currently right now that like, okay, is this show still on the air? Like, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, but I see the commercials for the new seasons. I'm like, another new season? Is anybody on this show that was in the original like 2 seasons?
That's something that I probably have to think about. I'm trying to think of a TV show that I was invested in, and then I was like, well, I guess you know what? You could say it about The Walking Dead. I was watching it like I was a fan. I was all in. I watched it every Sunday. Then after a certain season, once I hit Glenn over the head with a bat, holy fuck, I kind of stopped watching. And then I'd watch it every once in a while just to see what was going on, and I was like, I want to see how it was going to end. Then when they were like, oh, this is going to be the final season, I watched the final season. I wanted to see the conclusion. But I guess that TV series kind of fits the mold.
By the way, to new listeners, this is a sequel to an episode we did last year. Last year we did worst TV series finale, and Supernatural was Joseph's pick. So when you heard him allude to that earlier when he answered the question, last year we did worst TV series finale. We encourage you to check it out as a partner to this episode. As far as TV series that ran its courses too long, Modern Family, Two and a Half Men, Big Bang Theory. I think the Chuck Lorre produce shows, they just run them to the ground. I enjoyed all these shows on some level, mostly TBS reruns after Roadhouse, but at one point in time, all these TV shows were monster TV series hits, and the term quit while you're ahead did not apply to them. I think unlike The Sopranos, for comedies, it's different because there are only so many character jokes and quirks that you can play with. Friends was in danger of this. That 10th year was just sloppy. It was put together. That last season, they tried to tie up loose ends, and it didn't work for me. Of the aforementioned TV series, I was not a fan of those shows or the finales because they ran way too long and I was captivated by something else at the time. Look, in television, it used to be you run 8 to 10 seasons and you are a hugely successful TV series. And out of those 8 to 10 seasons, you needed 5 peak seasons to be a Hall of Fame caliber TV show. It's not like that anymore with any show. You're now seeing an overt intentionality of shows where 5 or 6 seasons is all you need. And instead of that slow wind up and dull wind down, you got to be quick with everything. You got to hit hard and you got to hit fast and be good and successful on every show. And they have to be strong and meaningful. All you need is 5 or 6 seasons. We've got too much to do. We have to check our social media. We don't have time for you to introduce new characters, new babies. We are no longer a mentally patient society.
Let me throw an asterisk in there.
Okay.
If you have more than 5 or 6 seasons, they better all be on Netflix, and you better be able to binge the shit out of all of them, because if you have 8 or 9 seasons or 10 seasons, but they're all on Netflix and you could binge them all, then I completely disagree with what you said. But yeah, watching a season and waiting for the next season to come out, yeah, I guess 5 seasons. I think that's the standard. You get 5 good seasons and you can tell. But if they're all on Netflix, man, you're just hoping for the next season that you could just hit play and stay up till 5 a.m.
One of my favorite shows lasted 11 seasons, but let me ask you, I think everybody loves this show. Was Married with Children on longer than it should have been?
I think so. I think it was.
But I think them ending at 11 was them like actually getting to the point where they're like, okay, we need to fucking end this.
When did they take a trip to see? Didn't they take a trip to see
London,
and then there was
yeah.
another episode with like Peggy's family. There was like I don't know. It was once they started getting into that shit, I was like, nah, yeah.
I thought it ran maybe 4 seasons too long. I thought,
And the thing with that though is like that show ended
98, I believe.
98. So
Yeah.
that ended before the 2000, and that's one of these shows like where I think the older shows or the shows from our childhood, you know, are held to a different standard than what we get today. And well, not like as far as like what they produce or the content, but like the longevity, because it seems like the shows from back then ran a long time. I don't know. I guess we enjoyed them more, and now like we don't have people don't have an attention span that can last longer than fucking like 4 seasons. So
yeah, like I said, now that there's Netflix and Hulu and everything, you can just catch all the episodes in one. You watch it one weekend and then you kind of move on, like you're ready for something new.
But guys, remember how we were introduced to Married with Children? It was on reruns after our local news ABC affiliate. And we were watching the same, maybe 30 episodes over and over. Yeah,
those are the best ones.
We were watching The Sister too. Yes, we were watching, and God bless Christina Applegate. She's amazing.
Awesome actress, dude.
She is. But we were watching the same 30 to 40 episodes. After a while, I think it kind of just ran its course, and it wasn't funny. And of course, with political correctness and everything, I think the last few seasons got watered down.
Thank goodness for those reruns though, because then I wouldn't have started to follow it as the weekly show on Fox that it was. It was those reruns after the news that got me into the show.
Do you guys ever see those reels with old Married with Children clips and how there's no way they could ever get away with those jokes now?
Oh yeah, fuck no.
It's just so
I want to go to the
amazing.
nudie bar and help me fix my problems. I fucking loved. Yeah, like it's great stuff, dude. I mean, but then again, late 80s, early 90s, there's different comedy, different, it's crazy.
It's completely different. So guys, we're going to go on with our selections. Remember, we are talking best TV series finale. And Bob, you're up first. What do you got for us?
No honorable mentions?
Oh, shit. Forget it. Scrap that. First, we're going to go to our honorable mentions. When you're out of date, when you don't do this for a month, you start.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
So let's go to our honorable mentions. Bob, what do you got for us?
I got 4, and I'll keep them short and sweet. Freaks and Geeks, I thought it was a great finale, series finale. I loved how the cameramen and workers wave at the bus at the end, because I guess they found out it was the last episode. That should have gone on for more seasons. I don't know why it didn't. Schitt's Creek, happy ending. I thought that was
great one.
Fantastic. I mean, great show. Fucking funny. I mean, just a show that I didn't have expectations for, and just laughing my ass off with it. I thought it's just a great show. 6 Feet Under, very sentimental, showing how they all kind of go. It was. I love that show. That's when we watched that. I think from beginning to end. I think I even had it on DVD for you kids out there that don't know what DVDs are. And lastly, this is a fairly new show. Barry. I don't know if y'all have seen Barry, but
ended last year.
The finale, just ended this past summer. The finale was just amazing, and then everything they did, man. John Hader, the acting is just phenomenal, and the way they brought things to a close, thought it was great.
You're thinking about the Astros. It's Bill Hader.
Bill Hader.
Oh, Bill Hader, yeah.
Who's
Bill Hader.
John Hader's an Astros.
He's their new pitcher.
Joseph, I didn't want to correct him, but he was on a roll.
No, but it's funny. I was like, Astros, man. Ooh.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
What do you got for us, Joseph?
What was the contract, Joseph?
5-year, $95 million. Something
$95 million, yes, sir.
Just to lose to the Dodgers. Okay, Joseph, what do you got for us?
Okay, one of my honorable mentions is Bob's selection, so I'll just leave that out. Bob will get to it right now. Just to be real quick, Smallville. I thought Smallville was one of my favorite shows, and they ended it properly as to what they wanted to portray as far as that, that show. It's not a Superman show. It's a Clark Kent show. And I thought it was great. Okay. Yes. They ended it perfectly. Yes.
Clark Kent is Superman, Joseph.
All right. You don't get it.
No, I know.
I'm going to say Reservation Dogs, a new show as well too. This was one of my new favorite shows. I watched it straight, from beginning to end really quickly. It was 3 seasons and I loved it. It was, and I thought it ended perfectly. And I'm going to go ahead and say Letterkenny as well, because that's all I got.
That was a good one.
I have a few. I got Succession. Great finale. Barry was great as well, Bob. Two big HBO shows that ended. Great TV series finale. Ted Lasso, 3 seasons in and out. What I'm talking about before TV series just come and go. For those of you fans who are watching The Bear, which is probably the biggest TV series going on right now, it won't go past 5 or 6 seasons. I guarantee you that. Sons of Anarchy was a great series finale. MASH, because did we watch this TV series? Because we had to go to sleep when the helicopters came out.
Well, me and Joseph weren't born yet, so Rand was already in his third year of high school.
Let me tell you something about MASH. It had Super Bowl S ratings. Okay.
Well, see, what else was everybody gonna do in the 70s at midnight?
It's not that old. Okay.
I know.
Cheers. Oh, I think it started. Okay. Cheers was a great TV. Good Times. Friday Night Lights. And you guys haven't watched Friday Night Lights yet, right? The TV series?
No, I lived it.
No.
I'm just kidding.
All right, Pee Wee. Okay, so I honestly think you guys would enjoy this show. Some great marriage advice on compromising and listening. So many things on this show. I think you guys would love it. Give it a shot. Give it 2 or 3 episodes. If you don't like it, then, well, you could blame me. Okay, The Wonder Years, when Kevin talks about meeting up with Winnie Cooper and her husband, ripped my heart out. I was hoping they'd get married. I think we all were. The father dying. What a great ending to that. So, I mean, just wonderful TV series finale. I think we all had some good ones. Joseph, go ahead.
I was trying to keep it like to actual like primetime shows or things like that, but of course I can't not mention Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and
good
one. And
I didn't like the finale.
I was cool with it. They're all moving on. Everybody moves on. He's the last one in the house.
They don't want me, man.
I also, of course, I'm a huge Boy Meets World fan. So shout out to Pod Meets World. I know they're never going to hear that, but love the way that ended. I'm trying to think of these sitcom shows, and as much as I loved Family Matters, I don't know exactly how it ended. I think
it was like on 3 different channels. It was on 3 different networks. So remember, it moved to CBS.
I wish it could have ended in a way that I remember. I mean, if it. Yeah. But anyway, I can't help but not mention those as well. Specifically, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Boy Meets World.
Joseph, I did watch the TV series finale of Family Matters, and it turned out that Urkel indeed did that. So that's all I'll say.
Okay, shit. You talking about Laura?
Like I know at one point he was gonna get married to Laura, and it's like Laura. So it's like
he finally wore her down. I'm wearing you down. He finally wore her down.
I'm wearing you down, baby.
What about 90210? Did they graduate? Because they had.
Well, I mean, technically, they all graduated like 10 years before they actually got on the show. They're like all 35.
I mean, being a senior with lower back pain, I don't know about that. But okay, so we're going to our selections. Bob, you're kicking us off. What do you have for best TV series finale?
It's been so long. I don't know. Remember how to do this now. For me, it is The Office, man. It's The Office for me. This got to be one of my favorite shows of all time, minus the Will Ferrell season. I just didn't like that one. I love the jokes, the storylines, the characters, the pranks, the actors. You really fall in love with the show on a weekly basis, man. And it was one of my go-to shows. This is one of the shows that I could honestly go back and watch old reruns over and over and over again. Besides the old classics from the 90s, like this is a show I can go back to. I can watch it on a weeknight, whatever episode showing that I'll put it on and I'll sit and watch it for an hour. It's just, it's my favorite, man. I thought the finale they did was really special and really hilarious. It brought back, everybody's favorite Michael Scott for one last episode, one last, that's what she said, and a goofy line about his kids growing up and marrying each other. I thought that was hilarious. I love that he didn't steal the spotlight from anyone. He came back, he said his one line, and then, of course, like they interview him, after the wedding, they're interviewing people, and he says that one funny line. I love that he was just kind of in the background, but it was so nice to see him come back for that. The episode had a little bit of everything. It had a funny wedding. Dwight finally marries Angela. The wedding is hilarious. Obviously, what's his cousin's name? He kidnaps Angela. Mose kidnapping Angela. That was fucking funny. Kelly runs off with Ryan, and Ryan leaves the adopted kid there. Just fucking leaves him. What the fuck? They book it. I thought that was hilarious. Jim and Pam finally kind of find their happiness as they decide to move on to Jim's big endeavor. And I thought that was great. I thought that Dwight handing over the olive branch, being like, no, I'm going to fire you so that way you get extra pay and all that I thought that was really great. Finally, Pam came around. Now, this is for a future episode, but Pam definitely wasn't my favorite character on this show. I think she had a lot. I think there was a lot there where like a lot of shit that Jim did for her. And like she was just like it was a lot about like all about her. So I think that should be debated about one of these days. Like the worst character on your favorite show, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I love so this episode again had a lot. Had Creed come out. Like I love that after the wedding they all go back to the office to just kind of reminisce. And Creed walks out in his boxers and a beard because he's been hiding out for whatever from the police. I love that. I love that he gives that great speech at the end, and then he's like, "All right, boys," and the cops arrest him and take him to jail. Kevin thinking that he's gay and he's crying with Oscar, and Oscar's like, "No, you're not gay." He goes, "Why do you think you're gay?" "Because I'm so emotional." He's like, "You're not gay. Be quiet." Like I thought that was just a hilarious line, and for Oscar to be telling him that, it's so fucking funny. Just that whole last scene of them all sitting in the office and them reminiscing and sitting around and talking, and you could tell like all the actors are really into it. They're really getting sentimental, and I love the flashbacks of the like the best moments of the show. It was good stuff, man, and it makes me feel sad that the show ended. It was kind of sad, that it was all over. This is a group of people that you've been watching and for a long period of time. I mean, how many seasons did they end up with?
Nine.
That was okay, good. I was gonna say like close to 10 seasons of The Office, and it was really sad for them to wrap it up and for it to end that way. You could tell the actors again were emotional and sad about it. But I just think it was a great ending, very sentimental, very funny for what the show was. I thought it wrapped up beautifully, man. What did you guys think about it?
This is one of my favorite shows, and like I mentioned when we were doing honorable mentions, that your selection was on my list as well. Probably at the top, right under. If not at the top,
sharing is caring.
Sharing the top spot with my own selection. I like how you mentioned how Michael came back. What's his name?
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell came back to reprise his character for the quick two or three scenes. And you're right, it was great, like because he could have done that, but he was gone for 2 seasons, so it was perfect for him to come back to give like the fans the piece of like that character, and he didn't steal the show. You're right, that's great. I did like how they kind of went, I don't mind flash forwards as long as they do them right, and I think they did. This is great. They showed each character doing something differently. It might not all be great, but everybody seems happy, especially with the situation with Creed. I thought that was funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually rewatching it right now, and I know it sucks because I know you kind of mentioned or you talked about it briefly. I think the last 2 seasons, 8 and 9, the 2 without Steve Carell's character, they kind of suffered. And I think this show actually benefited from quitting, like, okay, let's get out of this before it's not what it used to be. Let's not try to. They did 1 season and it wasn't the best. They came back for season 9 and called it quits after that. They knew what they were doing. I think it was perfect because that's what it needed to be. Because unless you had Steve Carell, I don't know, maybe the choices in because I didn't mind the other characters. The other characters are great. They're also funny characters. Just maybe the way they wrote them sucked. I didn't like Andy's character for the last like 2 seasons.
Baby Wawa.
I hated James Spader's character. So like, yeah, it was time and it was perfect.
James Spader, what did he say? Shut up, bitch! When they're drinking wine, he jumps in the pool naked.
I mean, he had his moments, but it just didn't work, obviously, for the show. So it ended perfectly. You got to see a little bit into the future, and yeah, I like how Bob said, not only was it like it was real. It felt real. The actors were very much involved and very much showing their you can see some of them kind of like really feeling the emotion of the final episodes in the final scene. So I thought it was perfect. This is one of the best ones. This is one of the great ones. Good selection.
Yes.
I did a rewatch of it last night, and it was better than the first time I watched it. So I'm so glad you picked this series because I was reminded how great this show was, and I kept remembering the last 2 seasons without Steve Carell as Michael Scott and how I struggled, especially that 9th season, because I struggled to the finish. But like Kobe Bryant lighting up the Utah Jazz for 60 points in his last game, The Office came through with that last episode. Greg Daniels, the show's creator and the original cast, came back to remind us why we love this series and they did not disappoint. So yes, it's a good selection. I'll say it right off the bat. I discovered The Office, oddly enough, during a professional development day at an old job. They were doing a breakout session on diversity, and I had not watched The Office. I think they were probably around season 3 at this time. And I remember when they started playing clips of the episode, I had this coworker who like never smiled, and she was so misanthropic and didn't like working, but she was like laughing, and she's like, I love this show. She had a very sour attitude, but when that episode came out, she was like lighting up, and I found my way to relate to her. So I remember immediately after this this session that I just walked into, I had no intention of signing up for this session that we had. I was going to do something else, but I was like, okay, all the other sessions are full, I'm going to do it. Right afterwards, I went to Best Buy, remember that store, and I purchased the DVD box sets of the first 2
Still
seasons.
available.
It's still available. It's still there.
Still
real to me, damn it.
So watching the finale reminded me so much of my own work life and my previous jobs, and how no matter how much you might dislike going to your job or how bad the day has gone or will go, you have this very finite time with a select group of people. And at times you see these people more than you see your own family. You laugh with these people. You get angry at these people. You're sad with them. Sometimes that shared trauma of a rough workplace bonds you. And I've worked in jobs where the entire office was young. And I remember so many days plotting my escape from those places, only to grow older and realize things weren't so bad. And now the people I see every day who I bonded with, I haven't seen them in over a decade, who I saw every day, I should say. And I know it will repeat once again when I move from my current job and the job after that, maybe. But because of this show and my own sense of awareness, I try to soak things in and really cling on to whatever cool moments I have. And I really wish I had done this when I was younger. I watched this late last night, as I said, and I forgot about those last 2.5 seasons with Michael Scott not being there anymore. That finale reminded us of why this show was so great. The love and affection these people had for each other. Let's face it, many of them are still living off the residual fame the series gave them. They're doing podcasts about it. Meredith finding out that her son was a redneck stripper they hired for Angela's bachelorette party. I mean, how funny was
awesome.
It?
No, you can
Give
keep
him
going.
a good show, Jakey.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's hilarious, dude.
The guy was built like a twig. Anyway, Kevin, as you mentioned, Bob, Kevin telling Oscar he thinks he's gay because he's emotional. Kelly and Ryan leaving Ryan's baby to run away together. Michael Scott with his best "that's what she said" joke. Creed with his long beard and his adventures. The fact that they scrapped the idea of doing a Dwight Schrute Farms spinoff, they spared us because they knew season 9 was not that great. New characters weren't good, but I would love to do an entire series rewatch. And I think, Joseph, you said you're doing that now from the point of view of an older person who can now appreciate how some of these characters and absurdities relate to my own office life and history. Great episode, but the last 2 seasons were weak. Especially that last season.
Comic book man.
Yeah, he sounded like the comic book man. I was going to say the same thing.
Worst episode ever. It is an Elvin and the Chipmunks original. Okay, so I felt that this finale could have benefited by moving it up 2 seasons. So my only complaint is that, yes, this was a great series finale. Should have done it in season 7, not season 9. That's my only complaint.
Well, in season 7,
we didn't want to believe that the show was over, though. That's the thing.
When he did leave, though, like if they had stopped on that one episode, I'll give you that. Like when he leaves and they do that, they do their rant, the 9,000, 21,000, whatever the hell, all the minutes that he'd worked there, like they worked together. Like I thought that was a fantastic episode. Yeah, which is real. And they surprised him and he got off. But that was it would have been great if they ended off on the seasons or the series on that episode as well, I think.
I was going to say, I think better writing choices and casting choices could have been made to keep the show going, because there was nothing wrong with the rest of the characters. I honestly think, aside from the poor casting, obviously, which was thankfully only for a few episodes, a planned few episodes, because Will Ferrell was horrible. I didn't like, like I said, I didn't like the James Spader character. I think for the 7 and 8, for 8th and 9th season, it was clearly carried by the characters of Dwight and Jim, and that's cool. But I think everybody else did a good job too, just with what they were given as far as the writing. I just think better choices would have been could have been made, and it would have been it could have kept going. At least it had to end after 8, obviously, because it had to end at 9 because 8 was so horrible without their main character.
I don't know if you agree with me, but when they introduced the new Jim and Dwight, was it Jake Lacey and Clark Duke?
Yeah, Clark Duke.
Not you're a Clark Duke fan, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's I've seen him in stuff. He's been in a lot of things that I like, movies that I was like, that was a good movie, that was a funny movie, or that was so. I mean, it depends on your humor, I guess. Like he has a particular acting style, I guess, and his characters don't really like differ. But I mean, it was funny. I thought they were just in their small doses. They were funny.
I think he's one of Michael Cera's buddies, and that's why he gets cast into. Yeah, that's. I think I've read that somewhere or something. But yeah, I think those two characters. And who was there was a British redheaded woman.
She's the one that got the kid. The kid that Ryan
was she season 9? Was she
8?
She's an 8.
Okay.
8 and 9.
Okay. Yeah, those last 2 seasons are a wash for me. I really don't remember, but those first 7 seasons, some of the best TV. And we're gonna do a best Office episode ever.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Episode sometime down the line. I'm just kidding. Joseph, what do you got for us?
Here we go with another great Greg Daniels show. I chose the series finale for Parks and Recreation, episode titled One Last Ride. If you know nothing about the show, it's a workplace satire mockumentary show that takes place in a fictional Parks and Recreation department in the fictional town of Pawnee, Indiana. So for the 7th season, the 7th and final season, the show did do a time jump. And I don't think this harmed the show in any way. I think it actually really sets up nicely how the series ends in the final season, and specifically this episode. The show flashes forward, not so much a one specific time jump in the final season, but it time jumps in the last episode for each character and shows you at least a good 3 to 6 to 3 to 8. I don't want to say 5 to 10, maybe about a 3 to 8 minute scene of each character, doing what they want or what they, strive to do or find themselves doing in the future. And I thought it was perfect. Leslie achieves so many of her childhood and adult goals. Ron, the best character on this show, Ron Swanson, probably one of the best characters in TV in general, finds his own happiness in government work. If you know anything about the show, he hates it, but it's actually really nice. Ben and Leslie together as characters, April, and I know I'm just shooting character names, so if you know who I'm talking about, great. If you don't, sorry.
Don't ruin it, Joe. Yeah, of course. They know. They know, Joe.
Ben and Leslie, Andy and April, Tom, Donna, and Jerry, Gary, whatever his name is.
Jerry, who's he married to? Claudia Schiffer, or who is it?
Christy. No. Who is it?
Christy Brinkley. Is
it Christy Brinkley? Who is it? I can't remember. His wife, Gail, is played by somebody. Look it up, please.
I will right now.
She comes out on a few episodes, and everybody's like, "How the hell is he married to her? How the hell is he married to Gail?" It's one of the funniest. It's actually a very funny, reoccurring joke throughout the show. A lot of shows end on a sad.
It's Christy Brinkley.
Christy Brinkley.
Okay, yeah, it's Christy Brinkley,
and who looks incredible, by the way.
Yes.
A lot of these.
Better than Billy Joel. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Piano Man. Oh, Billy Joel.
A lot of these shows, they end on a sad or happy note, but most leave you kind of wondering what, might be or asking, what, could this have happened or
like
or
The
could that have
Sopranos.
happened? Yeah, like The Sopranos. That didn't happen here. The showrunners took care of us as fans, like me and others, by leaving us no unanswered questions. We see each character go on and live their lives doing the things that bring them joy and happiness, achieving goals, like I said. Is that a bit cheesy and unrealistic at times? Sure, but it's a TV show and it's what we want if we're invested in these. If we find time, invest our time in watching a show, and it's what we want to see. It's what we love to see. Each character's, time jump, you see that, and they kind of all interact with each other or whatnot. So I thought that was perfect too. You see how everybody's happy endings connect and how they remain close and great friends throughout, the entire process, even into the future. TV shows don't last that long these days, and I think if you get a good 5 seasons under your belt, that's a success. And I think with this show getting 7, it's a good run for the TV show, and it ended, I think, at the right time before it got a little dull and repetitive. It was just a really nice happy ending, and I loved it. It's one of my favorite shows. I love to watch the reruns when it's on, and this is actually one of my favorite episodes to watch, knowing how it ends and how everybody kind of goes on into their lives. Guys?
What you're saying is you like happy endings.
So I like many people last week purchased the Peacock streaming app to watch the Chiefs Dolphins game, and I'm benefiting from it now because I got to watch Parks and Rec the season finale last night.
I think it's like $6 a month. So
yeah, it's not bad at all. Yeah,
and you're gonna watch the Royal Rumble.
I'm gonna watch the Royal Rumble. Yes, I've been watching a bunch of old school wrestling, just driving my family nuts. Anyway, so I will start off by complimenting and praising Amy Poehler. Women of Saturday Night Live really bring the funniest and best cast members this century. Tina Fey as a head writer, once she broke through that glass ceiling, we've really showcased and found, and we covered this in one of our first episodes, how we think the female cast members have just been doing it over the past 15, 20 years. We saw breakthroughs with Gilda Radner when she first got on the original cast, Jan Hooks, Sherry O'Terry, but unfortunately we didn't get that sustainability until Tina Fey became the head writer. With them, there would be no Kate McKinnon, no Kristen Wiig, no Maya Rudolph taking center stage, instead of being the sounding boards or the straight characters whose reactions to their male counterparts was their only contribution to the skits. We do love and appreciate her now, but in the future, I think with Amy Poehler, the path she helped to create for modern day comedy and future comedy for everyone, not just women, but for everyone, will be far more appreciated. Also, her one-legged character, Amber, one of the funniest skit characters. Jealous. Okay, so yes, it's only natural Amy Poehler got her own TV show. And yes, it was successful. I will admit, I haven't watched that many episodes of Parks and Recreation. People recommended it to me, but I just never got to see that many episodes. That's probably because those same people recommended How I Met Your Mother, and I just couldn't trust them ever again. I don't like that show. Anyway, I did rewatch the finale. Very creative. I love the time hops, Joseph. I thought that was a different and new nuance to everything, or a nuance to everything. It's so tough to cover every character's story in an hour because it was an ensemble and it be satisfying, but the show did a good job. I thought it did tremendous. I felt it was more creative and conclusive than it was funny. I did laugh when Bend Over by Lil Jon and Tyga was played at the funeral. And, the John and Yo.
John Ralphio's fucking hilarious, dude.
He's great.
And see, and I'm sorry, before you continue, that's what I love. Like, John Ralphio is not a main character. He's a minor character who has a few appearances in at least, a handful of episodes each season. And they at least showed something for him. Like there's a little time jump for him. And I love how they did that with each character. Like I mentioned all the main heavy hitters, but there was a lot of minor characters that you got to see like a nice little send off for them. It was great.
Two really good jokes, and I may have missed a few others, but I didn't know the characters that well, and that's my own fault, of course. And I wasn't really truly invested. But what a tremendously talented and funny cast! I mean, it was a murderer's row of very talented and funny people before they really exploded onto some of the other projects they're now completing. Very good episode. I think as far as similar comedies, The Office had a stronger finish because I think we're comparing the two. They're both the same creator.
For sure.
But I didn't hate this episode. I felt the pacing was good. Bob, what did you think about it?
I love the finale was really good. And, I do like the time jumps. I've always been one of those people like, I wonder what happened to them in the future. I love that they always do that. Usually it's in like the small print, like 5 years later, Johnny, got his GED and got his life together. That kind of stupid shit. I love how they did the time jump. And they made Leslie, she's running for governor. I thought that was funny, Life Laundry. But the ending was good. I won't say that it's better than The Office. I don't think it's as memorable as The Office. You know what I mean? But I mean, with a cast like this, you have Amy Poehler, Rashida Jones, Aubrey Plaza, Nick Offerman, Adam Scott, Chris Pratt. Jesus Christ, Rob Lowe was a hilarious character on this Aziz show. Yeah, dude, Aziz Ansari, Jenny Slate and Ben Schwartz, brother and sister, annoying as fuck. Hilarious. Like it was a really great show, and it was kind of like a happy and funny and upbeat show, and I think they kind of ended it on that kind of note. You know what I mean? So I thought it's a good pick, Joseph. It's a great pick. It's the only thing about it though is when we're thinking of like season finales or series finales, I can picture The Office series finale. I can picture Game of Thrones series finale. When you mentioned Parks and Rec, I was like, oh shit, what happened? What happened? I actually had to go back and watch it. I'm like, oh, that's right, and that's right. Okay, but like it wasn't as memorable for me. Not saying it was bad, it just wasn't as memorable for me, if that makes any sense.
Oh, good show. I think we're 2 for 2 so far, and hopefully we're 3 for 3 because my selection for best TV series finale, going a different route, it's not a Greg Daniels vehicle. Breaking Bad series finale, Felina. As of August 2023, Breaking Bad maintains the highest IMDb rating for a TV drama with a 9.5, despite the series ending nearly 10 years prior, or actually, yeah, longer than that, right? This is a show this is an episode, I should say, I've only watched through once. It was like an event for me, like a wedding or a colonoscopy. You only want to go through it once, right? Okay, so
It depends. Is the duck cute?
I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to my wife, Jessica. She suggested we watch the show. Like 75% of the show's audience, we were late to the game. And when we first moved in together, this show was our first show. It was already about to begin its last season. And when we moved, we binged this show like crazy. It was our first appointment TV viewing together. No kids, just us and crystal meth. We were like Kurt Cobain and Courtney Love. And the show will always be special. Just we can't sing or play instruments. Anyway, this finale aired. Well, she played clarinet in high school, but that's beside the point. Okay,
you did own Converse.
This finale aired September 29th, 2013. We were married September 21st of that year. So 2 newlyweds watching a dying scientist save his meth-making protege by killing a bunch of people. What a perfect start to holy matrimony. Anyway, there are shows that are great, and there are shows that completely knock you on your ass. And if you're lucky, you'll discover 4 or 5 of them in your lifetime. For me, it's Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, Seinfeld, The Simpsons, The Wire, Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is ending this year, by the way, The Office, and Jennifer Love Hewitt on Party of 5. Not the show, just her. What a treasure to unlock when you find a show for yourself and when you can share it with someone special. It's like you're in your own world. There are many shows that push all the right buttons, but everything felt in place for this series. I don't know how it was shopped around, but for HBO, TNT, Showtime, and FX to pass it up, I mean, it's just, and not host it, it's just baffling. FX started to develop it and pass it up in favor of a Courtney Cox show called Dirt. What is it? We don't know. Before we talk about the final episode, let me list the things that led to this incredible episode. Vince Gilligan having the wherewithal to end the series after 5 seasons. That's what we started off talking with. Stranger Things is ending. You're going to see that with a lot of critically acclaimed series. Like I said, you fans of The Bear, 2 more seasons tops, maybe 3. Casting Bryan Cranston, what a tour de force. He's such an interesting guy. Sony and AMC were looking to cast either John Cusack or Matthew Broderick for Walter White. And although I think John Cusack debunked that he was asked, going with Cranston is a major roll of the dice because we knew him from comedies. He was the father in Malcolm in the Middle and Tim Whatley, the dentist in Seinfeld. He absolutely owned this role. Everything from going from Mr. Chips to Scarface, that slow, sinister transformation, nobody could have done it better. The cast was brilliant to balance a family home life and turn this into a living, breathing Grand Theft Auto video game was remarkable. Keeping Jesse Pinkman past the 9 episodes he was originally meant to be in, brilliant. Of course, the anti-hero premise. It really took off with The Sopranos, and any other show conceptualizing or using this motif would be under heavy scrutiny if not done correctly. This show did it absolutely correctly. And speaking of The Sopranos, Vince Gilligan was very adamant on wrapping up this show with an intentionality and with a definite ending. The final show consisted of everything we loved about the series, a culmination of surprise, action, ingenuity, science, everything. The rescue, the innovation, everything about this TV show I loved. And I listed a whole bunch of things that happened in the episode, but listeners, watch it for yourself because this episode will just spin your wheels. It's tremendous. The last episode held on to the spirit. It gave us a conclusion and the ending we needed. Lastly, Jesse fleeing in Todd's El Camino as we cut to Walter dying because he got nicked with a bullet from the M60 from the truck. The way he walks to the lab, he's admiring the lab, also reminiscing about the thrill in his life that this crazy world gave him. Badfinger's Baby Blue starts playing in such a beautiful scene, as beautiful as you could get with a dying murderous drug lord who's in a meth lab. He walks, he collapses, police storm in, camera pulls away. Such a satisfying ending, such a great ending to a tremendous TV series. What do you think, guys?
Well, first off, okay, He's a chemistry teacher. Let's not. You called him a scientist. Let's hold the fuck off there a little bit.
He was a scientist.
He was a chemistry
partnership.
teacher.
No, he wasn't. He was part of a partnership. But go ahead.
It's like saying I'm a writer. I mean, I work as an English teacher, but I write. I mean, I've written a lot.
He was a scientist.
You're a fucking English teacher. Okay. I love this. I mean, this series ending. You know, him getting shot and dying. Like I thought he should have died. I just had a couple little tweaks, couple little problems that I had with it. I didn't. The no mames of the week was the MacGyver machine gun in the trunk, like because he's a fucking chemistry scientist, he knows how to fucking rig up a damn M16 in his trunk to pop open with his little clicker from his and shoot everybody. I thought that was like, I was like, that's over the top, but that's cool. Like inventive, okay. I mean, I would have liked to see him shoot everybody, like because he is the badass. I thought maybe that would have been, I mean, more poetic. Going out in a blaze of glory would have been cool to save Jesse. Another question I had, and maybe you can answer this: how the fuck did he poison the stevia packet? Like it's prepackaged. I don't know how.
I think there's ways you could seal. I mean, just like you could seal like your lunches with these receipts.
So like he like showed up. He showed up there and was like, "Here, just take this specific stevia packet that's in this group of." It's like stealing all the pink ones at the. What are they?
Splenda. I can't remember how he did it, but I think the episode goes into detail how he concocted that. But I know because it is very deliberate. But
I could see if like she poured the sugar. I could see if she like poured the sugar from the thing and be like, "Oh, okay," like he put some in there, but it was a packet, and I was like, oh, "What the fuck?" Okay, well, I get it. Okay, whatever. I thought like the action was great. I thought him saving Jesse at the end was awesome. I like how Jesse fucking chokes and kills. What's the name of that dude? I always forget his name. He chokes him with his cuffs.
Clemens,
yeah. He
Todd.
kills him off. Yeah, Todd. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then like him like not shooting him at the end, and then getting in and El Camino driving away and like kind of frantically like crying and laughing and being like, yes, like he's finally fucking out. I mean, like I said, I would have rather had our main character go out in a blaze of glory, kill everybody, save him, and get shot while shooting. You know what I mean? Or even if he had like the cancer had returned, he didn't tell anybody, and he just kind of like, you know, fucking dies out, kind of like Doc Holliday. That I think that would have been kind of cool. The machine gun thing out of the trunk. That's the only thing that really bothers me.
But they explain it. They didn't surprise us with it.
I know.
There's 15 guys in the room. He can't shoot them all.
Yeah, he's like, so let me get this. So I'm going to get all these wires and ropes and that was half the episode, folks. He's there fucking rigging up a fucking M16 in his trunk. And he's like, I can't hit too many bumps on the way to the deal because it's going to set this fucking thing off. He's got to have it at the right angle so it pops up and shoots. What if it shot over the house? Then what? Then he was completely fucked,
well,
right?
It shot back and forth. You didn't even hit him. So
that's I know. But I mean, like, what if he put the angle wrong when it popped up and it shoots over the roof of that? Would have been fucked up. He would have been
a scientist. He knows what he's doing.
Get the fuck out of here. You're not a physicist. He's a fucking scientist. He makes fucking math, goddammit. Oh, yeah. So that's the only thing that bothered me. It was a good pick. This is one of the most critically acclaimed TV shows of all time. Great TV show. Just those little nitpicky things about it at the end. I didn't like that. I wish he had found a way or snuck in a way or done something to where he could have done it himself. Like, gone out in the blaze of glory. That's what I would have loved to have seen him as. Not get hit by a stray bullet and then die with his hand on the meth tank. Like, you're good to me. You're a good pig. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Go ahead, Joseph.
I'm glad you all had a great discussion between this because I've never seen this show, so I can't give too much of a response, but it sounds like it was a hell of a time.
Yes.
But no. But I will say this: we have a friend of the show, Daniel, who's been on the show. He would not shut up about this show. Like he's like anybody. So like when it came out, and he liked The Sopranos too. He was a big Sopranos guy, but I know he calls Breaking Bad the greatest fucking show ever. I think those are his exact words. And it is to a lot of people. A lot of people really love the show. You guys both love the show. So hearing from you two and not from you two, Randy, both of you.
From Bono. I'd like to talk to you, Joseph.
I knew you were going to fucking go.
That was terrible.
I'm out of practice. Come on.
And out of breath now.
Hearing you guys use guys as our northern friends say. Discuss the show and hearing And my uncle talked about the show a lot too. I have an uncle who was really into the show. There's a lot of positive from it. So I know, even though having not seen the show, I don't hear too many people complain about its ending other than Bob right now, who said it's unrealistic.
That's called nitpicking.
I know. You can nitpick about everybody's like favorites. Like,
I want you to Google Machine Gun series finale, M16 series finale of a Joseph's. You can see it and be like, yeah, that's MacGruber, MacGyver. Not even MacGyver can come up with shit like that.
We're gonna post this to the page, and I'm gonna rip some MacGyver scene music, the theme song or something. Anyway. But hearing you all talk about it and reading that a lot of people were happy about it and the legacy that it did, like from what I've heard, it has not tainted the legacy of this show. People still call it one of the greatest shows. I don't want a crime series. Crime series? Would you call it a crime series?
Yeah, I would call it drama. Yeah,
drama series.
Yeah.
Crime drama.
Of all time, and
musical.
One getting musical.
Randy didn't mention there's an awful lot of bald people in this show. Awfully lot of bald characters in this show.
Hey, Halloween costume,
there you go. Jesse, go ahead.
Hey, getting its spin-off show.
Better Call Saul.
Isn't there a
Better Call Saul? Yeah, it's great.
But isn't there another?
El Camino was a movie. But not very good.
I thought I heard about another potential. What do they call them?
Spin-off
TV show.
Really?
Maybe I thought I had read something about it recently, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But hearing, like I said, you all talk about it so positively, I have no doubt. And I read it, of course. We read looked at the list and whatnot of shows that when this topic is brought up, it's definitely up there too. So I can't say anything to complain about it. I will say though, it does seem to have a place in history, and people seem very happy about it, at least. And that's good. That's a positive thing. People can go rewatch the show again, even though they know it's going to happen, know it's going to, how it's eventually going to end, and still enjoy it. And that's great. I think that's a good sign for a series.
Great
finale.
TV series. Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. I think all the TV series we selected were great. And what's funny is that last year we talked about some pretty damn good TV series as well that let us down. But these three series and the ones we mentioned are honorable mentions. They did it right. And when you do it right, you have the legacy build upon what the entire series did for us. So great discussion, guys. So as we wrap up, I'd like to discuss something, and you guys could wrap up with, maybe TV show suggestions or movies that you watched. I just want to talk a little bit about comedies, because we talk about comedies a lot, and the lost art of like the rated R comedies. And well, there was two that were recommended to me over the break that I watched. One I didn't really care for. It was a movie called Bottoms, and on the description of the IMDb reads, two unpopular queer high school students start a fight club to have sex before graduation. It was kind of like Heathers meets Fight Club. It stars actress with a huge future, Ayo Idebri, who's on The Bear. I mean, she's fantastic. She plays Sydney on The Bear. And they tried to make her look younger by giving her a bad wig with inconsistent length, but not a very good comedy that was recommended. Marshawn Lynch is in it, and he's actually pretty good. The lone bright spot is pretty funny. Cindy Crawford's daughter's in it, and she hit the genetic lottery because she looks just like her mom. Very, very Gen Z. This was the first movie I watched that made me feel way too old about comedies. And if I'm old and I just didn't get it, but I do want to talk about a comedy that I did enjoy, Joyride. I don't have you guys watched Joyride?
No. Which is Joyride?
I'll read the IMDb description. It follows four Asian American friends as they bond and discover the truth of what it means to know and love who you are while they travel through China in search of their birth mothers, or one of them.
This doesn't sound hilarious, Randall. It sounds
trust me. No, you gotta watch it. It follows a very old yet effective formula of friends going out and getting caught up in ridiculous situations. It's very much like The Hangover, even replete with an Alan type character, meets Bridesmaids, meets Girls Trip, but it was really funny and endearing. There are two hilarious scenes, guys, that will make you laugh out loud. I promise. I won't spoil them, but one features a tattoo and the other features a massage gun. So you got to watch it. Baron Davis, who used to play in the NBA, he has a cameo, another athlete cameo. But this movie didn't get a lot of pop when it came out, and I think it's going to develop a cult following on the streaming services. Excuse me. Ashley Park is the main character. She's very funny, delivers on an emotional scene as well. I think this will be a breakthrough role for her. She's very talented and a very good lead. So we talk about raunchy comedies, and the sort of rated R comedies is kind of a lost art. But these two movies, rated R comedies, I thought one hit very well, the other not so much. So hopefully we're seeing a resurgence in bringing this type of comedy back. Those are the recommendations I wanted to talk about. What about you guys? What are you watching? What do you recommend?
I really don't have anything, man. I'm sorry.
We
rewatching The Office right now. So it's
what did we watch? We watched After Party. I thought that was pretty hilarious. It's on Apple TV.
Okay.
We've seen Severance. Yeah, Ben Schwartz actually comes out in it. Joe, so it's actually pretty funny. Severance.
I saw Barbie. Go ahead.
Severance was Jesus Christ, Joe.
Did either of you guys, for the few people who cared, did any of you guys get to watch The Iron Claw?
No, not yet, but I'm going to.
Okay, all right, great movie.
That was the plan. Yeah. The plan is to fucking watch it. Just got sick, didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, check it out. It should probably hit streaming services very soon. So check it out. I loved it. And of course, I've gone on and on about my experience in history growing up watching the Von Erich family. I think it did it justice. I won't give a full review for those there's no spoilers. All the brothers died. I mean, come on. We all know that. But check it out if you have a chance. Anything else, guys, to close out?
No, I was just watching Patrick Mahomes there throwing snowballs at him after the game. Holy shit.
Up, like, I don't care who beats my team. Like, I'm not. You don't throw shit.
Well, they had fans crying and shit in the bleachers. Get the fuck over it. It's not like the Bills didn't lose. It's not like the Bills didn't lose 4 Super Bowls in a row. Get the fuck over it, man. You should be used to this shit.
I'm not gonna throw nachos at the fucking Green Bay Packers because
we can't because there's nothing left.
No, but I mean, like, this just don't do that shit. Like, that's fucking stupid. It's
fucking stupid. Yeah.
Horrible.
You know, one of the storylines, and they say this every year. This is Josh Allen's biggest game. Is he the solution? Because 4 or 5 years in a row we've had Josh Allen's biggest game, and
Stephon Diggs dropped a fucking bomba that was right in his hands in the fourth quarter. Would have been a huge touchdown. That wasn't Allen's fault. Allen scored. Yeah. You know, he took his team down. They should have scored 27 points this game. When do you start blaming the head coach and the defense? I mean, at a certain point, you throw Josh Allen in with a better team. You throw Josh Allen. Not that Lamar Jackson is bad, but he's a great running quarterback. If you can contain him and force him to run, you throw Josh Allen in with a crazy good defense. That guy is not losing. He is not losing. He scores a shitload of points. He busts his ass. He'll.
I'd rather have him quarterbacking the Cowboys. That's for sure.
Oh shit! Maybe they can trade Dak to Buffalo.
What about the Cowboys? What do we see in their future?
Pain.
They're going with the exact same fucking thing. And Jerry already announced it.
Mike McCarthy does get in his PJs and sleep over Jerry Jones's house. So that's probably one of the main reasons why. I think
they announced it earlier or yesterday. Unless Dan Quinn gets a head coaching job, which now is suspect apparently because people are looking at
terrible
the last 5 games of the season where the defense still got shredded. They fully expect him to just return and be the defensive coordinator. So we're pretty much that's the same show. Go Texans.
And the big winners of this season, whoever wins the Super Bowl, obviously, I think Detroit, Houston, and Green Bay. I mean, those are the biggest winners of the season.
They've shown that they have a lot of bright future. That's good, man. Hopefully we do. That'd be good. We've been losing for a very long time, the Texans. So it'd be really, and the Detroit Lions, it'd be really, really nice.
Yeah, it'd be
really nice.
Did I send you all that thing? I think I sent you all that reel of that Detroit Lions fan. He's like, it's like over the years, it's like 1995 all the way to like 2024, and he's just like in disappointment. And then they finally get to 2024. Yay!
Yeah.
I think I sent it to y'all.
I'll be rooting for them.
Yeah, if there's any team I'm rooting for now, other than I roll with Mahomes all the way, Texas Tech. But if it's not him, go Detroit.
I hope Detroit takes it. I really do.
Yeah, it'd be great, dude. At least get to the Super Bowl. Yeah, Dan Campbell's a great dude.
Jared Goff, man.
I love how Jared Goff was cast to the side. Like, he's not good enough. He's not good enough. He can't lead this team. And they got rid of him, and then they won with Stafford. They're like, see, and Greg Goff was able to be like, okay, fuckers, and, lead this the Detroit Lions. I think it's going to matter more because
they have a hell of a team,
Lions.
man.
They do. And imagine if they win it, this would be the most balanced trade in the history of trades. Matthew Stafford wins it with the Rams. Jared Goff wins it with the Lions. I mean, what a trade. Yeah. I mean, it works out for everybody. Rarely does that happen, but good sports talk. We weren't expecting to do a sports corner, but I think once we started talking about like snowball fighting, that half the people turned it off.
It's a given. We're getting close to the end there. So, with the Super Bowl, that's obviously going to be a topic.
But guys, I will say that I missed this. We were We were gone for a month, so very happy to see both of you guys again, and just excited about the bevy of topics, fun topics that we're going to have this year.
The future.
Yes, the future. And we're going to celebrate our 3-year anniversary in a couple of weeks, too. So we have lined up, we have a fun episode coming up next week. But we're going to have a themed month for February, Valentine's Day themed topics that are going to be fun. So
Valentine's with a B and with an M.
So we can't wait to talk about that. So any other last things, guys? Or are you guys good?
Nah, we're good to go, man. I think that was
sure
great. It
I've
was great to
seen
be
some
back.
shit. I just can't remember like what I've seen. But
He's talking about UFOs. These things, man.
Like I wish, like
it.
I need to write down stuff. Like if I see a TV show or if I saw like a movie, I need to write it down so that I can actually talk about it. Because when it comes to like, hey, what did you see lately? Fuck, man, I don't remember.
I didn't even know what I did yesterday.
But guys, we know what we're doing next week, and that's our show, everyone. Listeners, we'd love to hear from you. Hit us up and let us know what your favorite TV series finale is. Most importantly, let us know what you think about the show. You may reach us at formidableopponents@gmail.com and follow us on all forms of social media by searching for Formidable Opponents. We want to thank Creative Little Pill for her great artwork, very fun artwork this week.
Yeah.
Please follow her on Instagram at Creative Little Pill. Please subscribe, rate, and review us on any podcast platform you're listening to us on. And join us next episode. We'll be back with most overrated band of the 80s. So for Bob and Joseph, this is Randall. We'll see y'all next week.
The streets will have a name, Randall. The streets will have a name next week.
Bye, everybody.